It shouldn't look like this. Too even, too quiet, too precise. Such portraits do not appear by accident. They are the result of academic mastery, a school where every movement is a tribute to truth. But there is one thing that cannot be seen here. And if you show the process, most people will just look away. Because something is missing in this genre right now. And it wasn't an experiment, not a trick, not a concept. It was a necessity. Her name is Mary Jane Q. Cross. She was born in 1951 and has been working in a quiet studio in New Hampshire her entire life. And at this stage of her life, there is nothing surprising in her story. She did not break art. She was its perfect continuation. The classical school, realism that does not shout but calmly looks back. Her works were purchased. Her name was known at major festivals, where thousands of people passed by her stand every year. It was a career that ran like clockwork, without risk, no chaos. And most importantly, her hand obeyed her unquestioningly. Remember that. Just remember, at that moment, no one knew that very soon she would not even be able to hold a fork, let alone a brush. Because the next event will not just change her style. It will destroy everything that Mary considered to be herself. It didn't happen in the studio, and it didn't happen at work. It happened outside of art. She and her husband were struck by lightning. Both survived. Both went home. But some things don't end right away. After a while, she started taking medication. Just 19 days. The side effect was not just a line on the list of warnings. It became her new reality. Severe tremors. At first, barely noticeable, then uncontrollable. These are not the kind of tremors that go away after rest. It was a system failure. It took away her precision. And for an academic master, precision is everything. Every line, every tone transition, every glance in her portraits required absolute control over her muscles. And now that control was gone. Brushes became enemies. Pencils became uncontrollable. She couldn't even hold a fork at dinner, let alone a size 0 brush. And then came what is usually left unsaid in exhibition catalogs. 5.5 years of silence. She did not paint. Not because she lacked inspiration. It was because the tools she had loved all her life no longer obeyed her. She tried to circumvent this betrayal of her body. Sculpture, clay, forms that did not require linear precision. But color would not let her go. For Mary Jane, being an artist is not a career. It is a way of seeing the world. And after 5 years, she realized, without painting, she is not quite alive. It wasn't a good phrase for an interview. It was an ultimatum to herself. And that's where the decision was born, one that looked like defeat to the world. But to her, it was her only chance. Even if it seemed crazy. At first, it seemed wrong. Not as a new style, not as a method, but like surrender. The brush disappeared from her hand. Not symbolically, physically. She touched the paint with her fingers. Without a plan, without any guarantees. It wasn't beautiful, and it certainly wasn't fast. The paint lay differently. Control was gone. Every movement left a trace that was impossible to hide. She was ashamed of these attempts. She didn't show them to her colleagues. She didn't call it art. The realism she had been striving for decades suddenly became almost unattainable. Her hand was still shaking, and now this tremor was engraved in every stroke. But over time, something began to change. Not biology, not medicine, and her eye-hand coordination. She learned to apply paint differently, not to fight chaos, but to dictate terms to it. A straight line, a crescent, the force of pressure, each touch like a separate tactile decision. She invented her own devices, prostheses, supports, special adaptations to regain the 2% of precision that her hands couldn't provide. But the remaining 98% was still done by her fingers. 5 brushes on one hand, sometimes 7. The thumb for large areas, the little finger for fine details. When the pads of her fingers wore out from hours of work, she changed her tool. The works became larger. The space gave her a freedom that she did not have in miniatures. And something unexpected appeared. Light, incredible softness, a liveliness that no brush could give. The paintings ceased to be copies of the past. They became its evolution. Not worse, not better, different. She no longer tried to be the Mary Jane the world knew before the lightning strike. She just tried to remain an artist. And at that moment, a detail appears that is now worth thousands of dollars. A signature, not in letters, not in pencil, a fingerprint, the letter Q. Over time, she stopped explaining how she paints, because the question was no longer about fingers or prostheses. The question was about meaning. She began to talk about what she calls respect for the truth of the subject, about light, about silence, about what opens up only when you stop running. Mary often paints lilies. She says they only grow where the water moves slowly. They cannot survive in fast-moving water. It is a metaphor for her own life. After being struck by lightning and years of silence, she found her slow pace. She paints landscapes that last only a moment. Light that is about to go out. A moment in which one must hurry to return. Her works do not try to stop time. They simply acknowledge its transience. She signs her canvases with a fingerprint, the letter Q. It is both her initial and her victory. It is proof that the hand that once betrayed her is still here. And it creates. Today, she is not thinking about sales or high-profile vernissages. Mary Jane Q. Cross is thinking 200 years ahead, about whether the canvas will last, whether this spirit of confidence will remain, whether anyone will hear this silence 2 centuries from now. For her, being an artist is no longer about the result. It's about being present in every second. If this story of resilience resonated with you, give it a like. If you want more stories about people who didn't give up, subscribe to the channel. And write in the comments what touched you the most. Her 7 brushes technique, her silence, or her 5.5-year journey through emptiness. It's really important to us. People may not remember me, but I want my paintings to find meaning for someone else, even through eternity.